Hi, it's me, Sabroko, with a new Guild Wars 2 video. Today, I thought it would be lovely to do a video about why exactly am I moving my content to Guild Wars 2 and why I love Guild Wars 2. So I wanted to show you a little bit of reasons, and maybe if you yourself don't know if you want to get into Guild Wars 2, this is going to give you a few reasons as to why of either jumping back into it or coming in as a new player. Well, number one, the very first reason why I love playing Guild Wars 2 is because you don't require any kind of subscription to play it. So as of now in 2022, there's no subscription fee for you to play this MMORPG. And from a view, I'm an MMORPG player who comes from Final Fantasy 14 and World of Warcraft, where you have to pay a monthly due to play the game. It's kind of damaging to me as a player because I don't have all the time in the world to play it. So sometimes I do not enter into my money, and it's a good 200 to 300 Canadian dollar per year of just playing a video game. So that's my number one reason why I really enjoy playing Guild Wars 2. My second reason as to why I love Guild Wars 2 is because of the feeling of adventure. So in Guild Wars 2, really, there's no linear way of you to do something. You really jump into the game and you do whatever you feel like doing at the time you feel like doing it. So if you feel like doing the latest expansion and skipping your personal story, or if you decide to do your personal story and then jumping to a chronological event, or you go mid-story then end of story, it's really up to you. So it's really easier to pick it up because you're not in a linear position as to what you have to do. Of course, you have to buy the expansions to play them, and you have to be, I think, 80 to play the expansions, but otherwise than that, once you hit 80, which usually your personal story, gets you to, you can really play this game. However, even if it's not, and this is just the questing portion of it, you can jump right into PvP if you want that, because there's no level in PvP. You just go in, you do your own builds, and you play PvP. If you want to do crafting or just leveling or just want to do achievement hunting, you just want ration, this game is really centered for you to do whatever you feel like doing at the time you feel like doing. A third reason as to why I love Guild Wars 2 is the high fantasy setting. So the setting of Guild Wars 2 is so pretty, and for me, my fantasy of an MMORPG has always been high fantasy. Being able to see mystical places mixed with the engineering and the technology, and really feeling somewhat of a fantasy. I feel sometimes some video games miss on an opportunity on pushing the visuals further than what they can be. Now, a fourth reason, fourth reason for me why I love Guild Wars 2 is the combat system. The combat system is beautiful. If you've played Elder Scrolls Online before, it's a little bit in the same way, but depending on what class you're playing and what weapon you're wearing, your combat is really going to be changing. So there's a certain flexibility into your choices, and there's a certain customization you get into your talent trees and how you can play your character to really make it your own. Also, the animations are really beautiful. The fantasy around the combat animations are really beautiful. You really feel like your character. It's just an amazing combat feeling for me so far. If you compare it to other MMOs, I would say it resembles more Elder Scrolls Online than World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14 if I'm going with the bigger genres of the MMOs. A fifth reason why I like Guild Wars 2 is how easy and accessible it is to play with a party. For example, when I play with my friends, when I play with people on Twitch, and we get into a party and we go around in the world, we get to play the instances together, so that's really fun. We get to do the story together. It's not like they're locked on they just have to have access. If it's an expansion story, they have to be you have the expansion, but otherwise than that, I think it's really fun to be able to bring them with me, even if they don't have the level, even if they're not, you know, there in the story, because really they're just there to be with me, and that's really fun. I feel like it. Also gathering with the party, it's very fun. They get to gather with me, and gathering notes, they're shareable, so once I use it, all of my party members are able to use it, which I've never seen another MMO do that. So that's fun, and it really less complicates the whole system around it. Now, another thing that is really fun about Guild Wars 2, and I don't know, I think we're at 6 now, is the gear that you farm doesn't get underpowered with time. Now, there's going to be other pieces of gear getting released, but it doesn't get underpowered. As soon as it reaches a certain level, you will always have the gear at level 80 will always be level 80, and I think that is the cap for the characters. So it's really fun to have that opportunity of always having that one piece of gear. If you want to rotate and remove it and, you know, put it on another character or come back to it 2 years later down the road, you can still use that end game gear that you put weeks into getting, maybe, you know, months, who knows how many time you put into this game, but that is very specific, I think, to Guild Wars 2. And lastly, I will say one of the things that I thought was the most amazing thing and why I love Guild Wars 2 so much, and I've been creating content now for it, is the community around Guild Wars 2. When I was searching into what foot I could place myself into for an MMORPG, and I went around World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy 14, Elder Scrolls Online, Guild Wars 2, I didn't know where to go, but the Guild Wars 2 community was the most welcoming, and there were the people that came to my stream and helped me, and random people would walk up to me, give me gifts, explaining stuff to me. As a beginner player, it is really lovely. You know, I have a big background of World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft will always have a special place for me, but the community in World of Warcraft was not the same, and I cannot speak for right now, but was really not the same, was not as welcoming as what I have experienced on Guild Wars 2. And that's why I'm making content for Guild Wars 2, and that I've just been enjoying myself on Twitch. So yeah, I think that's a good resume on why I love Guild Wars 2 and maybe why you should pick up Guild Wars 2. Now, if you like this video, as always, like, subscribe, follow, whatever. You can always find me at twitch.tv/Roko. I will be putting some more content out there. Otherwise than that, I'm gonna wish everybody here an amazing and a creamy day.